What did you do with that gun and Mr. Jordan Klee?
Shot him.
And where did you shoot him?
On the top. My head.
And did you kill him with that shot?
Yes. I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say.
On July 24th, 2017, 17-year-old Danta Wright sat in a Washtenaw County courtroom in Ann Arbor, Michigan, smirking and laughing as Jordan Klee's mother read her victim impact statement. Jordan was 18 when Wright shot him execution-style during a robbery on October 4th, 2016. Have you ever seen a killer mock a grieving mother in open court? Have you ever witnessed such disrespect that it made a judge with 23 years of experience lose his composure? While Karen Klee described losing her only son, Wright shook his head dismissively and mouthed words to his family saying, "I'll be home soon," as she spoke about waking up every night, hearing her dead son scream for her. Wright's behavior became so disturbing that Judge David Swartz reached his breaking point. The veteran judge told Wright, "Watching you sit there and smile and laugh and shake your head like this is no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this agreement. You'll go to trial." That threat meant everything. Wright had already pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, armed robbery, conspiracy, and felony firearm charges. The plea agreement called for 25 to 52 years in prison. But if Judge Swartz rejected that deal and sent Wright to trial for felony murder, he could face life in prison without parole. Wright would die behind bars. After an hour-long recess, prosecutors returned with the Klee family's decision. Don't let cases like this fade into darkness while killers like Wright believe they can mock justice. If you're not subscribed, you're missing the truth about how evil operates in our society. Hit that subscribe button and share this video to raise awareness before another family suffers like the Klees. Or tell us in the comments why you think Jordan's story doesn't deserve to be heard. Jordan Klee was 18 years old and living alone at the Pine Lake Village Cooperative Apartment Complex in Ann Arbor, Michigan, when this crime changed everything. Born on July 26, 1998, Jordan was a senior at Pioneer High School with a 3.7 GPA and dreams of becoming an engineer. He wore jersey number 42 on the varsity football team, where his coach Jari Brown remembered him as a very smart young man who excelled in the classroom. Jordan's academic achievements included the Scholar Athlete Award for Academic Excellence and the NAACP Award. Those who knew him described him as having a happy-go-lucky nature and being the life of the party. He was mechanically inclined and loved working, traits that pointed toward his engineering aspirations after graduation. The teenager had a close relationship with his mother, Karen Klee. Jordan was her only child after his father, Sean Bristol, had passed away 5 months before Jordan was born. Jordan would often bring his mother a Wendy's Frosty after work, small gestures that brought what Karen later called laughter and love into her life. He also maintained a strong bond with his grandfather, John Klee, who had taught him to ride a bike and ski. October 4th, 2016, should have been just another school day for the Pioneer High School senior. Instead, it became the day that marked Ann Arbor's first homicide of 2016. Jordan was supposed to be in class that morning, but friends had noticed he'd been drifting during his senior year, attending classes less frequently than usual. At approximately 3 p.m. that afternoon, a maintenance worker made a discovery that would devastate the Ann Arbor community. Jordan's body was found on a dirt pathway near the Pine Lake Village Cooperative in the 2600 block of Adrienne Drive on the city's west side. Police determined that Jordan had been lying there for several hours before being discovered. The victim had suffered a single gunshot wound to the head during what investigators later determined was an attempted armed robbery. The crime scene was located on a pathway without surveillance cameras, which would later complicate the investigation, led by Detective Lieutenant Matthew Lige of the Ann Arbor Police Department. This crime case shocked the Pioneer High School community, where Jordan was well known and respected by both faculty and students. His senior year was supposed to be filled with college preparations, senior pictures, prom, and graduation celebrations. Instead, it ended tragically on a dirt path just blocks from where he lived. Danta Wright was 17 years old and already deep in gang activity when he planned the robbery that would end Jordan Klee's life. Born on August 29, 1999, Wright grew up in Ann Arbor but had been expelled from school and was known for petty crimes. Prosecutors noted that Wright sported tattoos including 6-point stars and pitchforks, symbols tied to the Gangster Disciples gang. Wright's criminal record included a 2016 arrest for fleeing police. He was released on bond, but instead of staying out of trouble, he dove deeper into criminal activity. This pattern would lead directly to the events of October 4th, 2016. Wright didn't act alone in this crime case. His accomplices were Jermarius Ellison, 17, from Redford, Michigan, and Delreno Gracie, 17, from Ypsilanti. Court records show that all three teenagers had planned to rob Jordan of controlled substances and/or clothes and/or shoes. Ellison was described as the oldest of the three and appeared to take some responsibility during later court proceedings. Gracie was reportedly the first defendant to be truthful with police about what actually happened that October morning. His attorney noted that Gracie showed remorse throughout the legal proceedings, unlike his co-defendants. The three teenagers lured Jordan to a spot near the Pine Lake Village Cooperative on the morning of October 4th. What started as a planned robbery quickly escalated when Wright pulled out a gun. As Jordan complied with their demands for his belongings, Wright made a decision that would destroy multiple lives. Wright shot Jordan in the back of the head execution style, leaving him dead on the dirt pathway. The motive was a combination of gang rivalry and the desire for quick material gain, with no regard for Jordan's life or future. This wasn't Wright's first involvement in violent crime. Prosecutors revealed that Wright was also suspected of involvement in the 2015 gang-related shooting death of 20-year-old Keandre Duff in Ypsilanti. However, as part of his plea agreement in the Klee case, Wright would not be charged in connection with Duff's death. Prosecutors indicated that Wright had some involvement in the events surrounding the death, which could make him liable as an aider and abettor, but that he was not the person who shot Keandre Duff. The crime scene on Adrian Drive would become the focal point of an investigation that moved quickly. Without surveillance cameras on the pathway where Jordan was found, Ann Arbor police had to rely on witness testimony, phone records, and other evidence to build their case against the three teenagers. Wright's gang lifestyle and previous criminal activity painted a clear picture of a teenager who had chosen violence over any legitimate path forward. His decision to pull that trigger would not only end Jordan's promising life, but also seal his own fate in the Michigan criminal justice system. If you care about stopping stories like Jordan's from repeating, share this video to raise awareness, because staying silent only allows more families to suffer. And if you choose not to, tell us in the comments why you believe turning away from the truth is better.
Your Honor, my name is Jordan Klee, and I'm Karen's cousin. She's asked me to read this on her behalf.
Sure.
Jordan Michael Klee, born July 26, 1998. Murdered October 4th, 2016, at 18 years old. Jordan has no future. Jordan can no longer choose to go to college. Jordan can no longer choose to change. Jordan can no longer make a difference. Jordan can no longer fall in love or have a family. Jordan no longer has a future. I've lost my only child, my son, my baby, my friend. More than that, I've lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life. As a mother, or any parent ages, her children are there to care for her. But now in my life, I walk this journey alone. I no longer have that luxury because that was carelessly and cruelly taken from me. I no longer get to see the smile of my son when he walks through the door and brings me a Frosty from Wendy's at the end of his shift. The simple pride of a hard work shift and bringing his mom something that just makes her happy. Songs we used to enjoy, I can no longer listen to. Movie nights we did, together no longer exist. I could continue with all the loss. I won't. This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare that no parent should ever endure. On the nights I managed to sleep, I wake up hearing my son scream for me, to then have to realize all over again, night after night, my son is dead, gone, taken. For what? Why? Can you answer the question? Why? Why? I have an answer. Your answer will never be good enough. There will never be an answer good enough to satisfy why you shot my son. Why you thought that what you had should be yours. Why you felt that what you wanted, you were entitled to. Why you thought his death was an acceptable response to your jealousy or desire to what he had. Drugs, clothes, money, jewelry, phones, shoes, whatever it was that you felt you needed more than his life. Your why will never be better than his life. Your want will never trump my son's death. You get to live, get to wake up every day. Your life continues. I sincerely hope that whatever it was you wanted so badly that you felt the need to murder my son was worth the next at least 52 years of your continued existence.
The investigation into Jordan Klee's murder moved quickly under the leadership of Detective Lieutenant Matthew Lodge of the Ann Arbor Police Department. Within 6 days of the murder, police had tracked down their suspects. On October 10th, 2016, Wright was arrested in Ann Arbor. He didn't resist arrest, and what happened next shocked even experienced detectives. Wright confessed to the shooting almost immediately, displaying an eerily calm demeanor as he admitted to ending Jordan's life. During the interrogation, Wright's nonchalant attitude stunned law enforcement. He described shooting Jordan like it was a routine task, showing no remorse for what he had done. Wright even rapped about his gang lifestyle during questioning, boasting about handling business and displaying the kind of bravado that prosecutors would later cite as evidence of his callous disregard for human life. But the most shocking moment came months later, during what was supposed to be a routine pre-trial hearing in June 2017. In a moment that would haunt everyone present, Wright calmly admitted to the murder in open court, while Jordan Klee sat just feet away. When the prosecutor asked Wright what he did with the gun during the robbery, Wright simply answered, "Shot him." The prosecutor pressed further, asking where he shot Jordan. Wright's response was chilling in its simplicity. In the top, by his head. When asked directly if he killed Jordan with that shot, Wright answered without hesitation, "Yes." Jordan Klee, Jordan's mother, was sitting in the courtroom when Wright made this admission. The woman who had already endured the unimaginable pain of losing her only child now had to listen to her son's killer casually describe how he ended Jordan's life. The moment was captured in court records and would later be referenced during sentencing as evidence of Wright's complete lack of remorse. Wright's confession eliminated any doubt about his guilt in this crime case. His own words, delivered with disturbing casualness, sealed his fate in the Michigan criminal justice system. The investigation that began with Detective Leach's careful police work had culminated in a confession so brazen that it left seasoned court officials speechless.
I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say.
Your Honor, my client asked me to apologize to the court. His smiling was in no way meant as disrespectful either to the family, to the victim, or to this court. My client is 17 years old. He has some emotional problems and frankly was scared. And some people display fear by smiling. He really meant no disrespect. He does take this very seriously. And what I started to tell the court before my client interrupted me, was that he did admit to the probation officer during the interview that he was involved, that he did cause the death of the young man. It was never intentional. He never intended to hurt anybody. And I think he does feel bad about it. Now, at his age and in his condition, he may not be able to express it as well as some other defendants might, but he does feel bad about it.
Anything else, Mr. Wright?
No.
All right. You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do. Mr. Bella, do you want me to accept this sentence agreement?
Your Honor, may we approach prison?
Yes.
On July 24, 2017, Washtenaw County Court became the setting for one of the most disturbing displays of courtroom behavior in Michigan legal history. Wright had already pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and felony firearm charges. The sentencing hearing was meant to be a formality, with Wright facing 25 to 52 years in prison under the plea agreement. But Wright had other plans. As Jordan's family members began reading their victim impact statements, Wright's behavior became increasingly disturbing. He smirked, laughed, and shook his head dismissively while the Klee family described their devastating loss. Jordan's cousin Courtney read a statement on behalf of Karen Klee that detailed the family's pain. Jordan no longer has a future. Jordan can no longer choose to go to college. Jordan can no longer choose to change, the statement read. I've lost my only child, my son, my baby, my friend. More than that, I've lost laughter and love. As these words filled the courtroom, Wright continued his shocking display. He mouthed words to his family, saying, "I'll be home soon," and "I love my family." Judge David Swartz, a veteran of the bench with 23 years of experience, had seen enough. The judge's anger was palpable as he addressed Wright directly. I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties, because it's bargained for sentence by the parties. But watching you sit there and smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. The implications were staggering. Judge Swartz continued. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do. Wright's attorney attempted damage control, claiming his client was scared, and that some people display fear by smiling. The lawyer insisted Wright really meant no disrespect, and does take this very seriously. But the courtroom wasn't convinced by this explanation. The judge called for an hour-long recess to allow the prosecution to consult with the Klee family. The decision now rested with Jordan's loved ones. Accept the plea agreement that would guarantee Wright's imprisonment, or risk a trial that could result in a life sentence, but might also allow Wright to escape with lesser charges if something went wrong. After the recess, prosecutors returned with the family's decision. Despite their anger and heartbreak over Wright's behavior, the Klee family chose to proceed with the agreed sentence rather than endure the trauma and uncertainty of a trial. They wanted to try to move forward with their lives and begin the long process of healing. Have you ever seen such disrespect in a courtroom? Share your reaction below and let us know what you think about Wright's behavior during this critical moment in the case. Wright was sentenced to 25 to 52 years in prison for second-degree murder with concurrent terms for armed robbery and conspiracy charges, plus a mandatory 2 years for felony firearm. Wright won't be eligible for parole until September 28, 2042, when he'll be 43 years old. He's currently housed at G. Robert Cotton Correctional Facility in Michigan. Wright's co-defendants received their sentences in March 2018. Both Jermarius Ellison and Delrino Gracie pleaded guilty to armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and second-degree murder. Each received 15 to 40 years in prison, significantly less than Wright's sentence due to their cooperation and apparent remorse. After the sentencing, Wright's mother, Antoinette Cartar, spoke to reporters and offered a controversial defense of her son's courtroom behavior. When asked about Wright's reaction during the victim impact statements, Cartar said, "I'm sorry for her loss just as well as mine. My son was supposed to graduate this year too, and it's just bad all the way around." Cartar insisted that Wright's smiling had nothing to do with disrespect, claiming it was related to unspecified mental conditions. "That's just how he handles everything in life," she explained. "As a child, you tell him no. He'll just look at you and smile, knowing he's in trouble but still smiling." She maintained her son's innocence and indicated plans to appeal the conviction.
What do you think about his reaction during the statements that were made in the court that the judge seemed to be
upset about?
Yeah, tell me what you think.
What upset me was I'm sorry for her loss, just as well as mine. My son was supposed to graduate this year too, and I mean it's just bad all the way around. So that's just how I feel.
Do you think he took this lightly? Do you think he took this seriously? How do you think he...
I don't feel like he understands exactly what's going on because of his mental conditions and things like that, and no one has even brought that up or said anything about it. So
can you expand on what those conditions are that you don't feel like were taken into account?
No, that has nothing to do with the case.
His mental conditions, I'm gonna put like that. The court systems and juvenile and I had tests done to see if he was a threat to society, which he's not. He sees another psychiatrist here in Ann Arbor, and she also let the attorneys know his diagnosis, what medications he's supposed to be on that he's have not had since he's been locked up. So, I mean, it's another reason why. The smiling does not have nothing to do with slack of what, how can I say it?
That's just how he handles everything.
That's how he handles everything. As a child, if he was in trouble,
he'll just look at you and smile.
He's gonna smile at you.
Knowing he's in trouble, but still, that's just how he...
The impact on Jordan's family was devastating and permanent. Karen Klee lost her only child and described walking this journey alone without the luxury of having her son care for her in the future. Jordan's grandfather, John Klee, spoke of activities he would never again share with his grandson, saying, "I still have his equipment ready and on display, which Jordan will never be able to use." The Ann Arbor community mourned the loss of a promising young man whose dreams were cut short by senseless violence. This crime case became a reminder of how gang activity and teen violence can destroy multiple families and communities. What shocked you most about this case? Wright's chilling courtroom behavior, his mother's desperate defense, or the judge's reaction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now so you never miss the truth behind cases like this. Our next video uncovers a story every viewer needs to know. You won't want to miss it. Click here and watch it now.